When most people think about how to improve their speaking skills, they often overlook the most powerful tool in public speaking, your speaking voice. Friend, is your voice squeaky, husky, or yanny? Don't you worry, this video is for you. Make yourself at home with Maradona.tv. All you need to have is a little bit of guidance. Now, let me give you 4 useful tips on how to improve your speaking voice. Okay, number 1. Speak moderately and audibly. Hindi naman po magsasalita ka ng sobra hina or sobra naman ang lakas. You need to speak audibly and moderately, because when you speak moderately and audibly, your voice has more power and authority. Ang iyong tagapakinig ay nagkakaroon ng opportunity to absorb and reflect on what you are saying. A speaking voice that exudes confidence will give your words greater importance. All powerful people speak moderately, enunciate clearly, and express themselves with confidence. When you speak rapidly, your pitch increases. So if you want to have a powerful and moving speech, speak moderately and audibly. Number 2, do voice exercises. Friend, the human voice is like a muscle. It can be made stronger with exercise and use. Many people with weak voices become more confident and powerful speakers because of voice exercises. Ang example po ng voice exercise ay kumuha ka sa aklat or sa magazine ng isang tula. Basahin mo ito sa harapan ng salamin at imaginein mo na kaharap mo ang isang large audience, ang maraming tao. Salitain mo ang tulang ito o bigkasin mo ang mga salita ng tulang ito ng buong lakas. Gamitin mo ang pitch ng iyong boses. May part na lalakasan mo, may part na moderate lang ang boses mo, may part din na mahina lang ang boses mo. At makikita mo kapag paulit-ulit mo itong ginawa, kapag daily ay ginawa mo ito, I think sa loob ng 1 buwan or 2 buwan, malaki na ang improvement ng boses mo. Now let's proceed to number 3. Record and listen to your voice. Maganda pong tip ito or magandang technique ito. Record mo ang iyong pagtula, record mo ang iyong pagbabasa ng news sa isang newspaper, magbasa ka rin ng Bible, ng magazine, i-record mo ito at pakinggan. Pakinggan mong maigi kung ano ang mga salitang hindi mo gaanong mabigas ng ayos, kung saan part ka dapat magbibigay ng emphasis, kung saan mo lalakasan ang iyong boses or hihinaan ito. Gawin mo ito araw-araw. Araw-araw. Pagsabayin mo na, umarap ka sa salamin, magbasa ka ng tula, magbasa ka ng news habang nire-record mo ito. Nang sa gayon, makikita mo or maririnig mo ang iyong mga kamalian kung saan mo dapat itaas ang iyong boses o ibaba ang pitch ng iyong boses, kung saan magiging moderate ka lang. Kasi pagka nagbibigay tayo ng emphasis, 2 bagay po yan. Kinakailangan, meron pong technique na itataas mo ang tono ng iyong boses o kaya hihinaan mo ang tono ng iyong boses. Iyan po ang kahalagahan ng nire-record at pinapakinggan ang boses. And last but not the least, number 4, eat and drink well. Energy is very essential for good speaking voice and voice projection. Before a short talk, eat lightly. Konting pagkain lang po kapag short talk. Ito po ay makatutulong para mag-function ng mabuti ang iyong utak at maging smart ka sa iyong pagsasalita. Kinakailangan may laman ang iyong sikmura para mag-function ang iyong brain. Pero kung long talk naman po ang pupuntahan mo o ang gagampanan mo, kinakailangan kumain ka ng sapat. Kinakailangan may laman ang iyong tiyan para ang iyong utak ay gumana sa mahabang oras na iyong pagpe-present. The food is very essential para sa ating utak. Alam naman natin ang public speaker, ang pangunahing gumagana dyan kapag nasa ibabaw siya ng entablado or speaking area ay ang kanyang brain or utak. Ang iyo namang iinumin ay yung room temperature water prior to and during your talk. Bago ka magsalita or bago ka pumunta sa entablado, siguruhin mo na hindi ka uhaw. Kasi po pag uhaw tayo, matutuyo ang ating labi at ito po ang magiging dahilan upang ang iyong dila ilabas mo ng ilabas para basain ang iyong mga labi. So be sure na hindi ka nauuhaw bago ka magsalita. At nakikita rin naman natin sa ibang speakers na nagdadala sila ng mineral water habang sila ay nagsasalita, which is good also para masustain ang ating pagkauhaw habang nagsasalita. Hindi po maganda ang uminom ng malamig na tubig before you speak. Hindi po. It will chill your throat. Sasakit po ang iyong lalamunan kapag ka malamig ang iyong ininom. At magiging daan po ito upang ikaw ay mamalat at ang boses mo ay magkaroon ng problema habang ikaw ay nagsasalita. Kaya iwasan po ang extreme hot and extreme cold water before you speak and while you are speaking. So malinaw po, bali po 4 ang useful tips ko sa inyo kung paano ma-improve ang inyong speaking voice. Number 1 is speak moderately and audibly. Number 2 is do voice exercises. Number 3 is record and listen to your voice. And number 4 is eat and drink well. Friends, when it comes to speaking voice, ay meron talagang gifted. Isa po sa mga fellow Toastmasters ko noong nasa Riyadh pa kami ay mayroon ganitong boses. Full of authority, audible, golden voice, charismatic voice. Narito po ang kanyang international speech winning piece sa International Annual Convention na ginanap sa Dubai, United Arab Emirates noong May 2003. Watch this and enjoy.
Notes in my lifeline, Toastmaster Rufino Jacobi.
No, I'm not going to commit suicide if that is the question in your mind. Instead, I ask you to imagine this as your lifeline. I'm sure every one of us dreams of having one that is straight, smooth, and just perfectly blessed. But who does? Mr. Contest Master, friends, good morning. Morning. Yes, my lifeline is no perfect one, marred by knots of angst and fears. The very first knot in my lifeline was my fear of heights. Well, actually, until now. As a young boy, I was often ridiculed by my peers, as I was often left behind whenever games involved climbing anywhere high, be it trees, rooftops, even riding swings. My young self-esteem suffered under the merciless teasing. The second knot I soon realized was being born the youngest in a family of 11 children. Family planning? Not in my family. Family planting, yes. It was a circus. I was lost in the cacophony of raising a big family. In fact, I suspect they would only remember me when elder siblings, all 10 of them, would pass on an errand down to me. I see the guilty faces of your elder brothers and sisters here. Yes, spoiled youngest, no such thing in my family. Which brings about another knot. My very own father, a military man, he was the typical tyrant. I don't care if tears running down your face and nose, young man, but you look me in the face when I'm talking to you. You make sure that all of your tasks here in the farm are finished before you go to school, and be back by curfew hour. Yes, sir. High school came. Another knot was added. With the standards propagated by the media, I wasn't exactly the best-looking lad. My self-esteem suffered a lot of notches further. But a more serious knot came when it was time for college. With a big family like mine, there was not enough money for that. I had to win a scholarship which I couldn't afford to lose. And I had to take it 1 inch at a time till graduation. But alas, finally when I found a big job, a high-paying job in the big city, I thought finally my knots would be behind me. But no, because one day, with barely any savings in the big city, I lost my job. At that time, to me, it was the final straw. I felt like the knots in my lifeline have turned my lifeline into one big, ugly, choking web. I was suffocated. I was screaming for space. I felt the world closing in on me. One day I ran high, atop a 50-story high building, and there, right at the helipad, rocked myself for hours. But after the initial fright, I discovered I actually began to enjoy the distance from the maddening crowd. Calm took over, and soon introspection followed. And there, 50 stories high, I re-examined the knots in my lifeline. And to my amazement, I discovered the very same knots have become my anchors of strength. Being born the youngest of 11 children made me independent as I struggled to be recognized for my own rights. Being born with a military father instilled in me a discipline to steer clear from the idiocy of drugs, drinking, and gangs. As I was feeling disadvantaged in looks, I discovered my inner gifts, my talents, and actually realized I was quite a popular student leader. Struggling to maintain my scholarship in college made me graduate as a magna cum laude. Well, I would have wished for summa cum laude, but well, magna it was. With renewed vigor, I actually realized that without these knots, it would have been easy to slip off and fall as I struggled to move higher. And thus, I started a new career in people development and training, something which I've been in for over 12 years now. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I pulled through because my knots, I realized, were actually my anchors of might. And I looked around at the world and I saw this world is rich of people who have done the same. Lance Armstrong, the cyclist, whose knot was testicular cancer, but from which he survived, making him even more determined to win the Tour de France for 4 consecutive years, from 1999 to 2002, making him the greatest American cyclist ever. Walt Disney, whose knot was poverty as he slept in a garage, crawling with mice, but which led him to create Mickey Mouse, which is today the big Disney dynasty, bringing laughter and fun to millions of people the world over. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the world is full of these people who've made their knots their strengths. And yes, this includes the very people, the very heroes you hold dear in your hearts. Heroes who have survived and who have made their knots and lifelines one big, beautiful web of hope and inspiration. Today, I ask you, look around this hall. All of us with our versions of knots in our lifelines. And today I pose a question. Will these knots tie you down? Even my knot of fear of heights became the very knot which cleared my mind. Yes, the question is this: will these knots tie you down, stagnated, isolated, or will these knots be your might, connecting you to one big web of triumph? The choice, ladies and gentlemen, is yours, Mr. Contest Master.
Yan po ang winning piece ni Toastmaster Ron Jacobe na kasama naming Toastmaster noon sa Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Narinig nyo naman po ang kanyang boses, talaga namang buong-buo, with full authority, napaka-audible, maliwanag, ang galing ng enunciation niya, ang galing ng pronunciation. Kaya talaga namang kawili-wili siyang panoorin kapag siya'y nagsasalita sa speaking area. Alam ko rin naman, kaibigan, na ang boses mo rin, kung may problema man, ay mai-improve yan kapag sinunod mo ang 4 useful tips na ibinigay ko on how to improve your speaking voice. At iyan po ang kabuuan ng ating lesson for this video, ang tungkol sa how to improve your speaking voice. Mga kaibigan, uulitin ko po ang taus-puso kong pasasalamat sa patuloy niyong pag-like, sa patuloy niyong pag-share ng aking mga videos. At ganun din naman sa mga positive comments. Doon sa mga hindi pa nagsasubscribe, please subscribe now. At huwag niyo pong kalilimutan na i-hit ang notification bell for you to be informed with our next videos. Again, this is Toastmaster Nestor de Leon Galang saying, I think the sweetest sound that God has ever made is your speaking voice.